morning, YouTube world. Jax and I are coming to you from St. Louis, Missouri, downtown right now, with a, oh, look at that, off the left, the St. Louis Arch, gateway to the west. According to weatherchannel.com, there's 0% chance of seeing the sun today. So, it's bright and sunny. I think today's going to be a good day, actually. I have a couple tickets for today. One is to go up onto the St. Louis Arch, which those of you who followed me 2 or 3 years ago, actually the arch is still under construction today, but I bought my tickets like 2 weeks in advance for today, so I am taking you guys up the tram inside the arch today, hoping that I can find a place to park the RV, which is a big if right now. But this is Route 66, and there's the famous arch. So let me get back to you once I have found a spot to park. It's absolutely beautiful, but I may have to park some miles from it. One thing I will just note, St. Louis downtown here has signs, pretty much every street I've seen, no parking 12 a.m. to 6 a.m. So don't think you're gonna overnight park anywhere in St. Louis. Here's Busch Stadium, Busch Ballpark in St. Louis. That is pretty neat, but I'm already a mile from the arch. There's just nowhere to park. I'm not even, by the time I get parked, I'm not even gonna be in St. Louis city limits anymore. Am I still in St. Louis? I think I found parking. $25, yeah. So there's a 20, and my other $5 has to be in quarters. Oh yeah, this is fun. Awesome, I love the big cities. I'm gonna have to get a key or something to get that last quarter in, because you know they're gonna get me for only putting in $24.75. There we go, all paid. Let me at least say, I got some really good rest. So the Merrimack Valley RV camp, that was a great spot, and I'm totally recharged. I'm ready for the day. I'm gonna bring you guys an awesome video, show you some great sights today. But the parking issue in an RV in a city is absolutely insane. It's not even funny. Like, I couldn't laugh if I wanted to. It's ridiculous. So, we'll do this. I got one more ticket for later this afternoon, and then we'll get the heck out of the city. Oh my gosh. Can we start today over? You'd think I haven't had my coffee or something. I had an Eric moment and put the money in the wrong slot. I must be dyslexic or something. I put it in slot 50. I'm parked in 53, put my money in 35. Luckily, slot 35 was still available. I am forgetting how to RV, guys. Running the generator with the air conditioning, alarm system, security cameras, and everything, because I don't know how else to do it anymore, honestly. 97 degrees, I think it is right now. What am I doing here? I don't have a choice. Unlike the second set of tickets that I have for later today, there's no time listed for how long it takes to take the tram up the arch, so I have no idea. That's why I'm paying $25, because we're right next to Busch Stadium. Not right next to it, but we're in the area where they can jack the price way up. Yeah. Hey, wait, look, I see the arch, kinda. I'm gonna laugh out loud if I parked on the wrong side of the highway. Oh, please let there be a walking bridge. Luckily there is a bridge over I-44, a little walking trail. I feel like I just got lucky on that. I don't know. I believe this is a Catholic church. Yes. Yes, some kind of Catholic church. And look, there's the arch. I made it. And I have an update for you guys. I'm on the wrong side. So, in case you got tickets for the north tram, that means you have to be at the north entrance of the arch. Boy, I'm just dripping with sweat. This is, yeah. So, you gotta walk to the other end of the arch to go on the tram. So here's your geography lesson, guys. The Mississippi River runs that way. And off to your left, here's the arch. So it's clearly not over the river. But it's very close to the river, so I guess that counts. Arch, entry, ride to the top. Yep, that's where we're headed. Just so you know, the security checkpoint is slow as heck. Just baking in the sun there. Anyway, we're inside. National Park Service, so no drones. Well, an hour later, we're finally in the construction zone at least. They're doing a lot of work here. We're the solos, huh?
Yeah.
All right.
We're the cool
Rocking
kids.
it. Well, that was kind of cool. Solo people get to jump to the front of the line. And here we go. Woo-hoo. There they are. I think I'm in a tram all by myself. Number 5. We're all by ourselves. Woohoo!
I know.
I couldn't believe it. He just jumped.
They're like little pods that you got to go 5 people in. Oh, I have 4 new neighbors here. That's cool. I like space age. Oh, yeah, it is. Cool.
It is nice.
It's your first time,
You'll
Jeff?
see the stairs.
That's
Happy
awesome.
Father's Day to those of you who are going up. As your car ascends to the top of your arch, please look out of your interior glass door. You guys will see the interior structure of the arch and the 1,076 stairs that lead all the way up to the top of the arch. You guys have a great journey. See you guys when you come back down. Thank you.
Oh, made it. They did not have air conditioning in here. Oh, yeah, look at all sides. All sides. Look at that. Water. Mighty Mississippi. And the city. Wow. Pretty cool. I mean, we are way up here. What a view. I think it's worth it, actually. Well, my RV's still here. There's no graffiti tags. My wheels are still on the RV. Generator's still running. All right, let's head over to another part of town. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Anheuser-Busch Incorporated, the Budweiser factory here in St. Louis, Missouri. All right, so what the heck am I doing at Budweiser again? Those of you that have been following me for a few years know I was here several years ago and tried to film and show the Brewmaster tour for you guys. Unfortunately, it went horrible. I did not have a stabilizer on the little GoPro camera I was using, and the audio didn't work because we had to use special headphones. So the purpose of today is to redo all of the mistakes I made years ago at this place and share it with you in a more professional way. I have some special, unique gear to be able to give you the best experience. I really want to share it with you, but I want to see it, and I want to better my video from 2 or 3 years ago. But the Brewmaster tour starts here in about 5 minutes, so I am a little late. I got to jump in there, and we'll come outside afterwards and check out the beer garden. Check it out. Cheers. This was the check-in area when I came in last time, so they've done a lot of work here. They have changed a lot. I don't even see the Clydesdales anymore. I will say, if you're thinking about doing the 21 and older $35 Brewmaster tour, you're going to want to reserve your tickets online. They sell out days in advance. But they have a bunch of different kinds of tours. They have the brewery tour, which is a complimentary 45-minute tour. They have the fresh tour for $10. Beer School, $15. You can go to the Beer Museum for $15, or you can do the Brewmaster Tour for $35. Fresh tank samples. Oh yeah, looking forward to this.
All right, guys, come on in, have a seat, make yourself comfortable. All right, guys, so like I said, my name's Claire. I'll just go around. I want to know your name and your favorite beer.
I'm Eric. Favorite beer is Rainier from back home, but on the road it'll be Budweiser.
All right. Well, we're glad to have you all. We're going to talk a little bit about how those beers were made. So I'll be talking mostly about Budweiser since that is our flagship brand, but a lot of what I say will cross over for a lot of the beers too. So we have 5 ingredients in Budweiser. We have our barley malt, our rice, water, yeast, and hops. Can you hear me now? All right. So Adolphus Busch, he was born in 1839, and he eventually, by the time he was 18, he had moved to St. Louis, and he worked on the riverfront as a clerk. Now, he came over with an education and a lot of money, like many of the German immigrants, so he wasn't happy with just being on the riverfront as a clerk. So he, by the time he was 21, started a partnership with a brewing supply business, and this is how he first came into contact with Eberhard. So Eberhard was so impressed with him, he took him home to meet his family, and most importantly, his youngest daughter, Lily. The two ended up getting married by 1861, and Adolphus began working for his now father-in-law. 1879, the company's name changed again. This time to Anheuser-Busch Brewing Association in order to recognize Adolphus and his efforts to the company, because he and his friend Carl Conrad, they had created Budweiser in 1876. They called it Budweiser for a few reasons. It was easy enough for us Americans to pronounce, and it also appealed to his fellow German immigrants. So then, speeding you guys up to date today, we're a wholly owned subsidiary and proud member of Anheuser-Busch InBev, and we have 11 other locations across the United States. So the building we're going into now is our Beechwood cellars. So just a warning, it's going to be 50 degrees in here. So Beechwood aging is that 6th step in the 7-step process that I went over earlier. And Beechwood aging is essentially secondary fermentation. So we actually only use this for 2 of our beers, Budweiser and Bud Light. That's because it's so expensive and so time consuming. It takes about 21 days to complete this process. All right, so let's talk about how it actually works. So these are called lager tanks. They're made of stainless steel. And at the bottom of each lager tank rests a layer of these beechwood chips, about 1.5 feet deep, so you guys can pass them around. So the beechwood chips are resting at the bottom of the tank, and they're going to provide extra surface area to allow the yeast to come into contact with the beer. When this happens, the yeast is going to feed off of those sugars, and that's where you get your alcohol content and more of that natural carbonation. So this is called a torpedo. So it's kind of, we put about 9 of these into each lager tank, so it's kind of like a measuring cup for us. But it's also beneficial in that we can put this through a giant dishwasher. It's perforated, and then we'll wash all of our beechwood chips before we're using them. All right, so you guys can go ahead and put on your safety glasses, and you can follow me back here. So you guys are going to get a sample of chip beer. So chip beer, this beer has been in these tanks for anywhere between like 15 to 18 days, so it hasn't been fully beechwood aged. You can see on this tube leading out from the tank, it's called chip beer. When it's going in, it's going in as this alpha beer right here. That's right after primary fermentation. So you guys can go ahead and grab a cup right here, and then you can grab a little sample. And then I will tell you something about this beer. It's not going to taste the same as what you're used to. So maybe just take a little sample. If you're feeling brave, you can go ahead and get a whole cup. But it's not going to taste what you're used to. That's because we brew at high gravity. And so that means that it hasn't been brewed down to its correct alcohol volume yet. So Bud Light normally has an alcohol volume of 4.2%. This beer right here, since it's been brewed at high gravity, could have anywhere between 6 and 8% alcohol. It also hasn't been filtered yet, so it still has a lot of those proteins in there. But yeah, it's a little more cloudy, and that's again because it hasn't been filtered yet. All right, now while you guys are sipping on the beers, let's talk about how much beer we have in this cellar. So we walked past 4 lager tanks. There's another layer exactly like it behind it, and then they're stacked 4 high into the rafters. And then there's another room exactly like this on the other side of the door that we entered over there with 2 in the middle. So we have 66 of these lager tanks in this cellar total. This is our smallest cellar on our complex, so we have a total of 374 lager tanks on our total complex. So then break it down into just one lager tank for you. It's 22 feet by 66 feet, small space shuttle size. And inside one tank can hold 3,600 barrels. So barrels is kind of an outdated term. 2 kegs is equal to 1 barrel. So to put that into drinkers terms, that would be the equivalency of 7,200 kegs, or 220,000 six-packs, or roughly 1.2 million 12-ounce servings. So that's in just one of those lager tanks. All right, any of you brave drinkers think you could take on one of those? Maybe you've drank one dry in your lifetime before, if you've been to college before. All right, well, we did the math for you guys. In order to finish one, you'd have to drink a 24-pack a day for 137 years. So it's quite the challenge. No one's done it yet. You're a first taker. All right, guys, well, we'll get you out of the cold here. You guys can follow me. Now, this bridge that you're walking under right now, the straining process, so step 3, actually occurs above this bridge. And it's connecting 2 buildings. The one to your left is where the milling occurs, and the one to your right is our brew house, which is where we're about to go into. We won't be up here for too long since it is pretty hot, but we're going to see steps 2 and 4 in action. All right, so as soon as you walk in, you'll see the mash tanks. That's step 2. So this is where you're heating up your grains with water. You're allowing your starches to break down. This is also where you find the difference between Budweiser and Bud Light. So Bud Light spends about double the amount of time that Budweiser does in these mash tanks. It'll allow it to burn off more of those fermentable sugars and non-fermentable sugars. So you're going to lower your calorie content, your carb content, and also your alcohol content. And then this right here is our copper grant. So this was when the straining process used to take place here. The brewmasters would come by, and the wort would be filling up this grant. They'd take their cups and they'd fill it up and they'd taste it. So the brewmasters will taste the beer at 10 points during its lifetime during the brewing process. So they taste test the ingredients and then at every single step of its process. And then we also like to point out the chandeliers. So we have 2 of them. And these were acquired by Anheuser-Busch from the 1904 St. Louis World's Fair. Adolphus sat on the funding and planning committee, so these were given to us as a gift. That's why they have our A&E sign on it. All right, guys, so this is where it gets super hot, because this is where you're actually bringing your wort up to a boil. This is also where we're going to add in our hops. So this one right here, you can look in the window, and they're actually cleaning it right now. If it was boiling, you'd be able to see those bubbles. You'd see a lot of foam from adding in the hops. Now, when we add in our hops, we're going to add them in as pellets. So this allows us to keep the concentration the same, so it ensures for that consistency. This is also where we're going to add any additional flavoring, such as the orange for our shock tops. They'll add in the orange flavoring at this point. So you guys can see 5 brew kettles right here. And then there's actually a 6th one on the other side of this wall. Now, of course, we package all of our beers. So on the left side here, you can see all the beers, the sizes that we package. And then on the right side, you can see our family of beers. So we produce about 400 beers at Anheuser-Busch. Only about 20 to 25 are produced actually in St. Louis. So that includes our Michelob family, the Busch family, the Bud family, all except Bud Light Lime. We don't do that one here. The Natural family, Michelob, Shock Top, Belgian Wheat. We do all those here. This will be like our little yellow brick road. So on the right here, this is our cardboard baler. This is where we're going to bale up all of the excess cardboard boxes that we don't use. And then as we're passing here, all these crates and boxes, this has all been packaged today. So it looks like we've got some Bud Light, some Budweiser, Golden Light. So anything that you're seeing today is already been accounted for. So then we have two lines on this floor. Line 38 is to our left, and that's going to produce a variety of bottles, bottle sizes. So your 7 ounce, your 32 ounce, your 40 ounce. And then the bottling line to your right will only package your 12 ounce bottles. So it's actually not running today. We're doing maintenance on it today. I'll walk you through kind of a step-by-step the life of a bottled beer. So it's going to start out over here in our rinser. So we're going to file our bottles in. We get our bottles from Peevely, Missouri, and then they're going to file in around this first circular rotator. Will be flipped upside down and purified with that same water that's used in the brewing process. Then once we make sure all the bottles are clean, we're going to send it over to the filler, which is the next cylinder that you guys see right here. That has 144 valves, and it's going to fill the bottles and cap them in under 1/10 of a second, so you don't lose any of that carbonation. So we pasteurize for a few reasons. It's going to double our shelf life from 55 days, kick it up to 110 days. It's going to allow us to ship and store our beer without being refrigerated. And then it's also going to kill off any remaining living organisms that might be in that beer at that time. And then they're going to come out of the pasteurizer and they'll reach this lazy river, so it'll be moving really slowly along the conveyor belt, and you'll allow the bottles to drip dry, so that by the time they reach the labeler, which is right here you see in front of you guys, we have to have 2 labelers to keep up with our rinser and filler, because the rinser and filler, that can package about 3,000 bottles per minute, and the labelers can't work that fast, so we have to have 2 to keep up. And then the next station back here is the packer. So if you guys imagine how bowling pins are picked up and then set back down, that's kind of how this works too. So you'll see those white claws, they'll pick up the bottles and then they'll set them into the boxes. And then the boxes will be sent behind in a little tunnel that will glue the cases shut, and it'll send them back down to our warehouse. So this is our canning line. So we won't go in just because it's not up and running either, but you guys can get a pretty good view of it. It works the same way as bottles do. We can actually do more cans than we can bottles. We can, just because the process of crowning takes more time than it does to put the cap of a can on. All right, so we have a total of 170 Clydesdales. That's our largest herd in North America. We keep about 50 here in St. Louis, so a handful are at our stables at all times, and then the rest are at Grant's Farm, which is about 20 minutes south from here. That's where they go when they need some extra pasture time. And then we have over 100 that are located in Warm Spring Ranch, which is in Boonville, Missouri, and that's our world headquarters for our Budweiser Clydesdale breeding program. So Warm Springs Ranch goes through about 50 tons of hay per month, so they go through quite the bit of feed on a daily basis. These guys will eat about 2 to 4 quarts of mixed feed, 50 to 60 pounds of hay, and then 30 gallons of ice-cold Budweiser. No laughs? All right, just making sure the mics are working, guys. All right, so they will drink 30 gallons of water. The stained glass windows that you see are all tainted by Tiffany & Co. And this building was built for about $35,000. Today that would round up to about $1 million in today's worth. You guys can see 3 of our wagons right here. So the 2 on the left, you can see their boat at the bottom, so they actually were used to haul cases of beer. The one on the right is just a replica. So this one is a model of the first original wagon that was used, and then the other 2 are what they look like today. So this is our tack room. You guys can come on back. Oops. So this is where we keep all of our retired harnesses. Each harness is handcrafted and custom fit for each horse. So that means when the horse retires, the harness retires as well. Alright, so right here we have our nice big winter coat for the horses. You guys can feel it if you'd like. So it's to keep them warm in the winter months. We have a lot of red and green around here. I'm sure you've noticed. Those were just Adolphus's favorite colors. And then this is for our little Dalmatian, so he doesn't feel left out. How cute. And then here is a Clydesdale horseshoe. You guys can pass that around. It's made of iron. It's about 20 inches from tip to tip. It's about 5 times as heavy as a normal horse's shoe would be. But it's also used so their hair doesn't get tangled up in all of this brass and leather. So this is the part of the tour you guys have all been waiting for. This is where you get to sample right from the finishing tank. Now a little bit about what else goes on during finishing. So this is where all those extra proteins are going to be filtered out. So the beer that you guys tasted, the chip beer, was really cloudy, had a lot of those proteins in there. Once it goes through filtering, it's going to be nice and smooth, nice and clear. You'll be able to hold it up and see your fingers on the other side. This is also where chill proofing happens. So chill proofing, we're going to inject it with a silica gel, and this is going to attract any of those impurities in the beer. So any of the proteins that are left over, it'll attract them, and then we can skim off the gel, and that's where you get to your nice clean beer, nice smooth beer. It's also when you put it in the fridge, it won't get cloudy too. And then there'll be glasses on your right once we get up there, so you can go ahead and take a sample glass, and you guys will get to take that home. This is Budweiser from 5 o'clock this morning. So the freshest beer you'll get. So Kim is putting on a Zwickel right now. There's a lot of pressure that's built up in this tank, so it's going to spiral down to release some of that pressure. So when you're filling up your glasses, go ahead and let the stream hit the side of your glass. And then once you want to get some foam, you can let it hit the actual liquid itself. Try to get about an inch or two of foam. That's how the brewmasters do it.
Hi, Jax, man. You want to go to the beer garden with Dad? You just want to flop. Well, guess what? You're going to the beer garden with me. Uh-huh. Get in the stroller. Get in your stroller. There's the Neon Bee from the original that she was talking about. What do you think, Jax? You're in the bar. You're in the bar, buddy. What do you think? Here, I got you your own. Got you your own. I don't usually film when I take Jax on the stroller, but Jax got a lot of attention here, actually. They were full on the outside beer garden. They took us inside, and we're like, yeah, it's totally okay. But it's just too stinking warm. So Jax is eating his lunch there. I'm going to make a sandwich and have a soda. But we're going to fire up the generator. And turn the air conditioner on. Oh, yeah. I'm not going to boondock here in the parking lot, but the parking lot is really full, actually. Really, the only reason I can leave, or will be able to leave eventually, is because there's nobody on this side, so I won't hit anybody on that side. Otherwise, I'm kind of blocked in. But I basically had 4 beers, so I'm going to wait till the sun goes down and just kind of chill here, and we'll find some boondocking. I don't know. St. Louis, the city itself, is really hard to find a spot to camp, so don't know where we'll end up tonight, but I'll let you know once we get parked. Yeah, guys, so here I am. I'm going to overnight park at this Camping World. We're in Wentzville. Well, it's west. I had to backtrack a little bit, but it's west of St. Louis. But there's another reason why I parked right here. That's because I have an appointment tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. right down the street from here with a pretty big RV upgrade planned for tomorrow. And unfortunately, it is going to take all day. So I'm not going to really be able to do anything tomorrow, but we'll see. Anyway, I had a really good day. What I did with the audio, I'd already looked at a couple clips from the Budweiser tour, and I was like, it wasn't as good as I'd hoped. Unfortunately, I used my second audio recorder with a pigtail, just like I did at Alcatraz a few years ago, to be able to record the audio. Unfortunately, the audio came in too loud. I'm going to do my absolute best to make it audible in a way that doesn't hurt, but I didn't adjust the audio input levels. I couldn't because I didn't know what the source was beforehand. And also her microphone device thing was making a clicking noise, it looks like. So there's always that stuff that you can't control. You know, did my best, and I think I'm proud of what happened. But I got to get out of St. Louis tomorrow, basically. So anyways, I am sorry for the length of this video. Wow, we did a lot. Anyways, guys, have a good night. Jackson, I'll see you in a couple days. Bye-bye. Hey guys, this is Jax, my kitty cat. I'm his servant, Eric. Thanks for watching our YouTube channel here on RVing. If you liked the video, give us a thumbs up below. Make sure you subscribe, check out all our other videos, and keep following us on the road. Thanks, guys.